All right, Wang, you're back on. It's time for the Kickboxer review, so put your phone away.
Okay.
What are you doing over there?
Nothing. Just looking.
And what?
Nothing. I saw a picture of the UFC posted of some guy named Action Bronson, and I was wondering who he was.
Action Bronson?
Yeah, I have no
He may
clue.
have been in Kickboxer, now that I think about it.
Oh, I have no clue who he is, so I was looking him up
So
on
who
Wikipedia.
is he?
It said musician, and then you told me to get off my phone.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. All right, Vinny, well, what did you think of this movie?
For the first half, I was convinced it was the best movie I ever saw. Second half slowed down a bit, and it got a little sleazy. But by the end, still an excellent film and just an excellent example of the 1980s, almost really a 1980s movie ever, but especially the 1980s action film. A fine example. Great movie.
It was every martial arts movie ever made, but I thought it was pretty great. Although I do have holes in it, I have things that I'm going to critique, but overall I thought it was very good. Wang, what did you think?
I thought everything was pretty predictable. It's so crazy how far movies
Predictable?
have gone.
You were outraged when there was a lovemaking scene.
Well, no, I was like, are they gonna make love? I mean, that's it.
So what reaction was that?
Because
You're the only person I know under 70 who uses that expression.
well, I mean, okay, it's dark at night. The rain starts hitting. He's running around shirtless in a forest. Sees her picking flowers. Turns her around, and I was just like, and the music comes on. I was like,
So what the fuck did you think was going to happen, Wang? Jesus Christ.
Well, I didn't think.
And why did you care?
He's supposed to be focused on Muay Thai.
By the way, Wang,
I see.
Wang in the course of this discussion has pulled out his second phone.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Don't feel bad. I feel it's important to share with the listeners at home. We have no camera, so they can't see that you pull out your second cell phone and place both phones next to your leather Toronto Blue Jays hat.
Oh, yeah. Hey, at least he's not
Come
wearing the
on.
hat.
No, I'm not.
Quit making fun of Wang, Vinny.
I'm not
Come
making fun of him.
on.
I'm
Come
making
on.
statements.
He's very fragile. All right, let's get going.
All right. So
Let me tell you one more thing. When I was a kid, I loved Bloodsport. I thought that movie was so awesome. I watched it a million times. So what got me into martial arts was Bloodsport.
Okay.
And I remember also watching Kickboxer. And as a kid, I didn't think this movie was nearly as cool as Bloodsport. And the reason, clearly from watching it with adult eyes, is the lovemaking scene. It's just too much for me, Wang. I see what you're talking about. And also, there was far more action in Bloodsport. There was much less action in this movie. This movie was more of a story with a couple of matches thrown in here or there. But in 103 minutes, probably 10 minutes was fighting, would you say, Vinny?
And a little more than that.
15?
I see your point.
Yeah. I wasn't into the story when I was a kid. I was into ass kicking. So I didn't like this movie as much. But as an adult now, I'm more into the story. I think this was probably a better movie than Bloodsport. And better acted. I thought that Jean-Claude Van Damme did a pretty fucking good job in this movie. And he is not renowned as an actor. Now, it could be because Raw has gotten so horrible in terms of skits and acting.
Yeah.
I've seen so much Ryback that virtually everybody in this movie was better, except for Van Damme's brother.
Van Damme's brother was the worst actor I've ever seen in any movie ever.
He was very bad. He was Dennis Alexio, who was a real-life kickboxing champion. They needed a guy who could kick, and this was their guy. Unfortunately, he could kick but not talk. But he did all right for himself, I guess.
He was fine as long as he wasn't speaking.
Yes.
All right. So I, unlike you, had never seen this movie before. I'm ashamed to admit that as a child of the 80s, but I had never seen this film until tonight, and I'm very happy we watched it now. And I intend, as soon as this review is over, to see if it is available on Blu-ray, so I can have it on my permanent collection. So it opens with Van Damme's cornering his brother. His brother is a champion kickboxer. He's having a fight in a very tiny ring in front of what is legit maybe 24 people. And they're claiming it's a big championship fight, and there just ain't nobody there. And it's not even filmed. It's not like one of those things where they put 24 people all on one side of the ring and film all at once. They cut to a wide shot so you can see there's just nobody there.
I believe that they actually used the ISKA initials which is the International Sport Karate Association. It was a real deal. And Scott Coker, actually, was, I think he was one of the founding directors of it. There's a tie-in.
Oh, okay.
We got more tie-ins later coming up.
I noticed.
Nice.
I noticed the ISKA. It looked like they put the graphic up in the background and then intentionally shot it so the ref's head was always in the way.
So I
So you can
see.
say, I half an SKA.
Yes.
So just like I guess that cleared them legally. So Van Damme's brother won the fight. Goes to cut a press conference. There are more reporters there than there were people in the stands. The reporters basically say kickboxing was invented in Thailand. If you want to prove you're the best, you will go there and fight them. And he was cool with this.
He's just blowing him off, being all cocky.
Yeah.
I beat anybody in the world.
So the two Americans went to Thailand. They toured the city as we got our first Stan Bush song.
That's right, your man Stan Bush.
Every Stan Bush song automatically adds a star to a movie.
Do you know, Vinny?
By the way, Stan Bush has done songs for Chikara.
That's right.
That's another tie-in.
Do you know that when we did the Battle of the Empire in 2006, and we were going to put it out on DVD, we wanted to use your Transformers theme, which we used in real life at the live event.
Yeah.
And to avoid legal issues, we emailed Stan Bush's people to personally ask them if we could use that song as your music. They never got back to us.
So you dubbed over it?
Yeah,
Yeah, such is life.
sucks.
This song was about how everybody loves a winner. So they're walking around Bangkok, and they stop by a business, and the business is advertising, quote, hot stuff for lovers.
Wang was perking up there.
No,
And,
I wasn't.
And Van Damme's brother noticed a girl standing outside, hot stuff for lovers, and he picked her up and took her back to his hotel room.
And Van Damme had that look on his face like, you rascal.
This rapscallion.
Picking up a lady here in Thailand.
Dog.
You dirty dog.
So, Van Damme and his brother went to train in the park. They were talking about their parents. They grew up separately, you see.
Oh,
And both parents were hard on them in different ways. And Big Brother lived with his dad. He said he always had to be the best in sports, or his dad would come down hard on him. And he stops and he thinks and says, but he made me strong.
sounds like Wang's life growing up.
That was.
So they train in the park, and this is legit two guys doing lousy sparring in a park in Thailand with a huge crowd around them. I'm sure no doubt thinking, look at these fucking white dorks.
You know, there was a moment there where before they started sparring, Van Damme is distracted by a fella with a bird in a bird cage.
That's right. We need to go back and check.
And later, they had a scene where he meets his mentor, and they made sure to focus on a bird cage there. I'm pretty sure it was probably the same guy, but I don't know for sure. We haven't gone back yet.
They also keep flashing back for a close-up of the bird
That's right.
throughout the movie.
There was the birds were a theme in this movie.
Do you know why?
No.
What symbolism? Okay.
Yeah, free as a bird.
Okay. I don't know. Everything.
You asked that like you had an answer to that question.
I know. It was a
Everything
setup.
has a-
He asked in such a way that I didn't have an answer, and then he didn't either.
Yes.
That's okay.
So it's time for the big fight. Big Brother was totally unconcerned. He sent Van Damme to get some ice. And Van Damme accidentally walked into the locker room of the local champion, as I termed him.
Tong Po.
He had a name, but the only name I used in the entire review was Van Damme. So local champion was warming up by throwing hard strikes at a concrete pole. And Van Damme basically shit his pants. And then the guy turned around and saw Van Damme and gave him the break you symbol.
That's right.
And Van Damme went running back to his brother and said, you can't fight this man. He'll kill you.
These guys are the real deal.
Yeah.
Not this American ISKA bullshit.
And the
This
brother
is real
brother
kickboxing.
said, it's okay. I'll dodge him. So the match begins. And within about 8 seconds, the champion backs Van Damme's brother up into the corner, hits a half dozen shots to the face, and then drops him with a stiff elbow. I laughed so hard. This is such a burial. And
you want to know? You want to know something funny about the guy that played the brother?
he was a champion. Actual kickboxer.
Apparently, one of his ring names was, of all things, the Portuguese Man of War.
How about that?
Yeah,
Really?
All these tie-ins to pro wrestling.
Wow.
He was Aldo Montoya, and he was in this fight.
So the first round ended with the Tong Po. He was driving hard knees into the body of Van Damme's brother. The round ended. He survived. Then in the corner, Van Damme wanted his brother to quit, but brother said, fuck no, I'm on to this guy's street fighting now. And the second round lasted literally about 4 seconds. And he got knocked down, and Van Damme threw in the towel. But Tong Po kicked the towel out of the ring and dropped an elbow to the spine.
Hell of a job refereeing.
Van Damme was outraged.
So was Wang. He just shook his head. He couldn't even believe this.
That was a brutal movie.
It was very violent.
I don't know how anyone watched that as a kid.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, but it's so inappropriate.
Wang, us Xers grew up with parents that didn't do anything with us.
Okay.
Just threw us in the room with violence.
Are
And
you
just let us have
familiar
fun.
with the term latchkey children?
Yeah.
No, what is that?
It's when your parents give you a key because they won't be home when you get home.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
okay.
totally my life growing up.
And if you're a kid, you think, I hope this is one of those days mom isn't home. And you turn the corner, her car's gone, and you say, yes.
And then you watch dirty movies.
Not dirty movies. You watch
Oh,
Kickboxer.
Kickboxer.
And yeah, okay.
Anyway, so after crippling this man, Tong Po grabbed his championship belt and tore it in half with his bare hands.
Yeah.
Best movie I ever saw.
This was great. What a great heel.
So speaking of great heels, the Thai officials loaded the brother on a stretcher, carried him outside the building, set him down in the street, then locked the door.
Oh, yeah.
What assholes.
Shouldn't mention, by the way, that the babyface here was, in fact, a babyface. Van Damme, clean-shaven at every moment, no matter how long he's been in the woods.
Even more shaven than Wang.
That's right.
He was
Very smooth, right, Wang? Hair's always impeccably combed and trimmed. No
Anyway.
body hair. And then you got this Tong Po fella whose face is all scarred up, and he's got a ponytail but no other hair.
right. It's just starts
Awesome
on the back.
look.
Starts on the back of the head.
Oh yeah, this is great babyface heel dynamic here.
So they met a Army Special Forces guy who came by and drove him to the hospital. Turns out that Big Brother's spinal cord was traumatized. He was never going to walk again, and it would not be safe to move him for 3 months.
This downward elbow, Wang, as I noted to you, this is why you don't have these. This is why you have to hear Joe Rogan bitching about these 12-6 elbows. It was because of movies like this where the bad guy used a 12-6 elbow and paralyzed the guy.
But that wouldn't really happen. That would
No,
happen.
it wouldn't really happen. It's a bullshit rule.
Okay.
But that's why this rule was originally. That's why it's in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah. Okay.
So Van Damme wanted to go fight this
Fucking Tong Po.
Tong Po,
It's his fault.
and the Army guy said, no, he'll kill you in a kickboxing match, and if you try to get him in the street, his whole army will get you out. There's no answer here. And so Van Damme was sad. He went for a sad walk through Bangkok. We got our second Stan Bush song in about 20 minutes.
And what a song it was.
Lyrics included, sometimes it seems so hopeless, all alone, no place to turn, so far away from home.
Wang, you should have been a child of the 80s.
The songs.
Oh.
God, the story of your life.
Do you realize Stan Bush has done entire songs full of just cheesy 80s movies for movies that were never made?
Really?
He's still making music, and they sound just like this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great man.
So the song, okay, play the sad song. So, sad Van Damme walking through Bangkok like Charlie Brown on Christmas, just depressed. And he finds a Muay Thai gym and says, I want to train here. And he points to the champion on the wall and says, I want to beat that man. And the whole school laughs at him. And he hangs his head and slumps his shoulders and turns around, and the sad music came back.
That was the best part. That was the best part.
This is exactly like when you got
laughing.
pantsed.
So,
hey, don't bring that up. We're reviewing the movie right now.
no place to turn, so far away from home.
Even
right.
though I got pants, I held my head back up high and I went back into the gym and beat everybody up.
You're right. Well, you were almost right.
Okay. Well,
I wish Stan Bush could write a song about that. Wang gets pantsed, but he held his head up high.
I did,
He
but
came back and got choked out 20 times.
I can't believe he got booed out of a gym, though. He got laughed out of a gym.
Can you imagine that?
Who does that?
Life was tough in the 80s in Thailand.
So finally, Army guy agreed to train Van Damme, but only if they went drinking first. So they went to a titty bar.
This led to nothing except tits. There's like no storyline reason to do it except to put bare tits on television.
And hot 1980s bikinis.
They had pasties on, though.
Most of them, they did have pasties on. They all had pasties on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wayne's very disappointed in the pastries.
No, I'm happy for those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't like titties.
What?
Can you just go on before I say something else? Just keep going
Does
with
your
your
girlfriend know
movie.
you feel this way?
No, I'm just kidding. Just go on before I say something else.
Wayne, the reason you're here is to say something else.
That's why there's a microphone there. No one can see you.
All right. So they're sitting there getting drunk at the titty bar, and the army guy is just talking about, I can get all of this weapon, this guns, these grenades, these bombs.
Why can't even look at me right now?
So they get into a blue van. They start playing some funky music. They drive out in the country. And an army guy drops them off at a hut and leaves. And Van Damme walks right into a snare trap.
What an idiot. He should have watched Star Wars.
And he has a long
Empire Strikes
conversation.
Back. Yoda did the same thing.
He has a long conversation with the old man who said it. The old man, as you can automatically imagine, he's the Mr. Miyagi guy.
He's my dad.
He looked a lot. He looked and spoke and behaved a lot like your father.
Yeah.
That is true. So he, of course, is the old man who lives in the woods, and he has mysterious ways of teaching kung fu or karate, whichever movie it is. In this movie, of course, it's in Muay Thai. I talk about Americans having swelled heads, and Van Damme explains he's been fighting, and the old guy in one jump throws 5 strikes. Was very disappointed that Van Damme couldn't block them. Van Damme insisted on training, and old man sent him to buy groceries.
Van Damme should have said, I needed to block him. You didn't touch me.
It's also true. So Van Damme goes to this village in the middle of Thailand. Nothing but huts and one source of running water in the middle of the village where all the women are gathering to do laundry.
And English speakers.
And English speakers. That's convenient. And first thing Jean-Claude Van Damme does is, as the only white man maybe they've ever seen, he begins to play with a 5-year-old children and chase them around.
And he was shocked that a grown man came and wanted to beat his ass.
Someone was disappointed and disapproved of his behavior. So he went into the grocery store in town, which was run by a hot babe who was conveniently the old man's niece.
Wow.
What an amazing coincidence.
That was crazy.
They talked about Muay Thai and training and Tong Po. Turns out Tong Po and his crew were running a protection racket in the town, taking money off the top to avoid, ass kickings. And those 2 mean dudes who chased Van Damme away from the children came to get their money. He picked a fight with them. He used all sorts of classic Muay Thai moves like an airplane spin.
Yeah.
And sent them packing. But now Hot Babe was upset because the bad guys are going to come and destroy her hut.
And he destroyed the hut, beating him up.
And he also did that. And he was just exasperated. Women.
Yeah. Thought he was doing her a favor.
Yeah. So he brings the groceries back and the old man agrees to train him. They do Tai Chi.
I loved, you've made a movie, Vinny, The Paper Bag Bandit and others.
Sure.
Sometimes there's a script, but they'll just come up with things to do on the fly. Like, hey, why don't you, Wang, just play around on your 2 phones and we'll film it. It's funny. It seems like that's what they did for much of the training in this movie. Like, the trainers all of a sudden, I know how to make you run faster. Here's a piece of meat. And then you see a scene of a dog chasing him because the dog wants meat.
He tapes the meat to his leg.
Yeah. And there's another one where the old guy is sitting like next to a hot tub, but I guess there's supposed to be ice water in it. And Van Damme comes up and he goes, has it been long enough? And the guy just puts his hand on his head and dips him back into the water.
So
you know these couldn't have possibly been in the
actually
script.
written this down.
No, they just were trying to come up with shit on the fly.
What about the scene, and there were many of them, where they dropped a heavy ball onto Van Damme's abs?
I think that was planned because they came back to it. Yeah. That wasn't a shoot like the water.
So the old man and his niece and Van Damme all had dinner, and he apologized for ruining her hut, and she forgave him. They went for a walk, and they talked about their parents, and they talked about Tong Po, and then they made out.
But bam.
But this is not the lovemaking scene.
No, this was not the infamous
No.
lovemaking scene. Got Wang all in a tizzy.
The old man took Van Damme to what he called Stone City. I don't know the real name of this place, but I've actually seen, they were on location in Thailand. And this is I've seen many shots of this, for lack of a better word, temple, whatever this old cool looking structure is. And the old man attacked Van Damme with sticks for a while, and they had pads like right, left, low, high. The old man says, "Hit here, 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 and here." like it's Simon. And Van Damme tries to follow the sequence, but the last target is just too high to kick.
Man.
So they put him basically in the rack to improve his flexibility.
You know, when I was...
Oh, God.
This is true. When I was a kid, I took karate and taekwondo, and I bought all of the martial arts magazines, and they had gimmicks that you would sit in, and it was like stirrups, and there's a crank, and you just crank it, and it cranks and spreads your legs wider and wider and wider as you crank it.
Just like when you're pregnant.
Basically, yeah. But they marketed it as martial arts training supplies.
Terrible.
So here's the next scene in its entirety. The paralyzed big brother was laying in bed and sweating, and Van Damme mopped his brow.
Yeah. I guess he had a fever.
Most of that guy's scenes were 6 seconds or less. This is one of them. We had Van Damme being dunked underwater and doing katas below the surface. I was really, really hoping that as he was doing these poses, like goldfish would go by. And then Van Damme tried to kick a tree, but his leg was hurting.
A pansy.
Just to remind us that Tom Poe's still around, he beat up some guy in a match, destroyed this man. So they're back in the Stone City, and Van Damme was kicking sticks and throwing jump kicks. But when he tried to kick the tree, his leg still hurt. And the old man said, "Think about your brother." Van Damme fired up, and he kicked down the tree, and then he collapsed, grabbing his bloody, mangled leg.
Great babyface fire.
It was.
That's what that was there.
Yeah. So then it's time for more katas in the water, out of the water. More.
This movie could have been about 30 minutes long. There was a lot of training.
More work with the sticks. And now he was flexible enough to hit the highest target.
How long we at? 80 minutes? All right. Back in the water.
Do another pose. We then had another scene. This is the whole thing. They're in the hospital. Big Brother's in his wheelchair. He pinches the nurse's ass. Whole thing.
And then they go back to the training.
Yep.
Let's train some more.
There was no transition.
All right. So back in the jungle, the hot babe wanted to go for a walk.
You know what that means.
It's code.
Oh, I know
Wang
that.
groaned again.
I know that.
Wang knows all about that.
I know that code.
Babes want to go for a walk with Wang all the time.
No.
So anyway.
That's why he's so bitter.
That makes sense. I can relate. So the old man wants to take Van Damme training, but the training is to go into a bar and get him drunk. So they walk into this bar, and this is a very famous scene. And this is the only scene I had actually seen before. And Van Damme is wearing khakis, and what first appears to just be a black wife beater. Then you look close, and the wife beater's straps have clasps on them. So it's a tearaway wife beater. I don't know what the hell this was.
It's the 80s.
I guess. So the old man gets Van Damme drunk. Says, "I want to see a dance. I want to see a dance to disco." He says, "I want to observe your balance," which turned out to be a lie. So he puts a coin in the jukebox, hooks Van Damme up with two ladies, and it was on.
Oh, yeah.
And Van Damme was... he was shaking his booty, and there's no other way to put it. That's what was going on.
You better been taking notes, Wang. Next time they hit the music in the club.
It was amazing to watch. Now, here's the thing. I hadn't watched this, but just like 2 weeks ago, I am aware this happened. Van Damme was on Conan O'Brien, and apparently they recreated this scene.
Oh, really?
I need to go back and watch this.
I think he does that probably in every appearance he does now.
25 years later.
Yeah.
So, it's a sight to behold is all I can say. Meanwhile, the old man is walking around whispering in everyone's ear, and it turned out later he was telling them that Van Damme had said rude things about their mothers.
Oh, man.
And what they did with donkeys. So, they all try to kick his ass, but even drunk, he destroys them all, including the best part where there's two guys coming up behind them, but he jumps and does the splits and kicks them both in the head and kills them.
Yeah. That's why he was getting stretched.
Yeah. So this leads to him getting an official match in a kickboxing ring with a crowd and everything. You know how sometimes in pro wrestling, especially in Japan, you'll have a spot where two guys just stand in the ring and one guy throws a chop as hard as he can, the other one takes it and no-sells it and throws a chop as hard as he can, and they just repeat? They did the same thing here with round kicks to the ribs.
Oh, yeah, just standing there taking these hits.
A fighting spirit kickboxing match. And Van Damme won and hit one kick to the head and finished him off, and this was enough to get him a shot with the champ.
That's right.
And the crowd began to chant in Thai, and they had told him it translated to White Warrior. Big Brother was reading a newspaper, saw his brother's title fight, was upset, and they went out to the jungle. Between these two scenes, Big Brother was on screen about 20 seconds. So Van Damme goes to training by himself. He's being caught as at sunrise. Trains alone all day, but he's in the Stone City, and every once in a while he hears a noise, and he turns, there's nothing there, and what he's hearing is the echoes of ancient combat all around him. Wow. And finally, he is too wigged out by this, and here is where he begins to walk home, and the sun is setting, and he's wearing no shirt, because why would you when you're Jean-Claude Van Damme? And he sees the hot babe picking flowers in the forest, and he approaches her, and there's a clap of thunder. They look into each other's eyes, and Wang says in this tone, "Is this going to be a love-making scene?" A love-making scene.
He is so disappointed.
Disdain. Why would anyone do this, Wang's thinking. So, it was heavily implied that it was, in fact, a love-making scene. It was not graphic. It was not even specific.
No boobies.
There was no flesh. Well, Van Damme's flesh. But,
That's right. That's the only flesh we saw was his.
We saw him shirtless here, and then in the main event fight, we saw his ass quite a bit, actually.
What a failure.
Yeah. So, the Big Brother tried to talk Van Damme out of the fight. Van Damme said, "Nah, I'm going to win." And then a messenger appeared. And they gave the old man a scroll and explained that they were challenging Van Damme to fight the ancient way with hands dipped in glass.
Oh, man.
And somewhere in here, I think it may have actually been later, but Wang, upon this whole hands dipped in glass fighting, he demanded to know if this was real.
This is the way they really did it.
Yeah.
Are you sure? You said
No,
it
that's
was-
what you asked.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Because they would wrap their hands in rope and then dip it in resin.
Yes.
And then make the glass stick.
Yeah.
Broken
Yes.
glass.
So your next tournament, I'm going to dip you in resin,
This is what you should do. Dip his whole gi in
roll
resin.
you up in glass, and we're going to throw your ass in the ring.
You'll probably win.
Yeah.
I would win.
Because the
tap
other guy,
out.
we're not going to do that just to make things.
So, is it real? Did you guys ever find out?
I'm sure someone somewhere did something this stupid.
Human beings have found creative ways to kill each other for tens of thousands of years.
I'm sure this is not the first time.
Okay.
Actually, they did do something similar to this in Greece and Rome.
Okay.
Well, minus the glass.
Well, minus the glass, but they had a...
Oh, they did have the weapon thing.
what the hell was that?
I know what you're talking about.
It's actually a name of something.
It's like a
that-
brass knuckle with spikes.
essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Jesus.
it was bad news.
Yeah, don't be a gladiator. Being
Yeah.
a gladiator was no fun. It was fun if you
that's-
won.
That's
Losing sucked.
crazy. Who does that these days?
Well, no one.
Crazies.
Okay.
So, anyway, Van Damme insisted on fighting, even with these new glass rules. So they trained with sticks on fire.
Thank God.
And by this point, Van Damme was now seeing visions in his head of ancient warriors. There was a setup here with all the bad guys where one of them wanted to borrow $1 million to bet on Tong Po.
That's right, the main guy.
Meanwhile, we got the unfortunate sleaze part of this, where they just had to go there, and they kidnapped the old man's niece and brought her before Tong Po, and he slapped her and then tore her clothes off, and that was the end of the scene. And they never used the R word. But
Actually, they did later.
well, they made it definitely clear what had happened.
They said she was raped.
No, they did.
I can't remember who it was.
They did not, like,
Oh no, she told the military guy. So they flat out said it.
Well, like I said, they never used the R word, but they
No, she said he raped me.
Oh, did she? All
Yes.
right, I missed that. Shit. Well, yeah, that's sleazy, uncomfortable, and not entertaining. That's the only black mark in the entire movie.
Well, they were trying to think of every terrible thing that they could do. Rape the woman, kill the dog with a knife.
They did kill the dog with a knife.
Kidnap
although
the brother.
The dog got better.
The dog was healed.
So,
And not steal the guy from his wheelchair.
yeah, that was the next scene. They tried to attack Big Brother in his wheelchair, but they ran into a bunch of traps. And eventually they overpowered him. They killed the dog with a knife. They dragged the paralyzed Big Brother away. And this is where Wang noted, this is a really sad movie.
It was.
It's called Getting the Heat, dude.
They rushed the dog to the doctor.
Have you ever watched a movie? There's always bad things that happen before the end.
Well, this is like really, when you feel like things. Okay, Big Brother already got paralyzed.
That's pretty bad, yeah.
You think that is bad enough?
They were piling it on. That's true.
Yeah, everything was just going the wrong way.
I was waiting for his mentor to die.
Oh,
I thought that
okay.
was coming.
Yeah.
I thought Big Brother was gonna get his ass kicked when they dragged
Well,
a
he
man.
did. They
with
knocked him unconscious and dragged him away.
Yeah, they dragged a paralyzed man who couldn't walk. 4 guys dragged him away. What do you like? That's messed up.
It is messed up.
That is, in fact,
no
messed
one
up.
should knock out paralyzed men and drag them away. Thank you. Wayne.
Exactly. As a gang, 1-on-1, I can.
Oh, 1-on-1, it's okay.
No, 1-on-1, it's not okay.
It's Wang against
now
a
I'm
man with no
confused.
legs. That's fair.
It's
But if there's
it's
4 guys,
It's worse with more people.
that's true.
I suppose that's fair.
Bullying is worse than just plain assault.
Correct.
Anyway, so it's time for the fight. And Van Damme and Tong Po have their stare down, and they wrap their fists, and they dip them in resin, and then in glass. And then right before the fight, right before he steps in the ring, and this, by the way, it's obviously not a sanctioned fight, as Wayne noted. There's a small crowd there in this den, wherever the hell they are.
Right, because
The NSAC was not overseeing this battle.
No.
Nor did we
I
get
thought
Bruce
he was
Buffer.
gonna avenge it in front of an actual crowd, so he
Well,
could
there was a
show
crowd
people-
there underground.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
So they were fighting on
Official.
a raised circular platform, literally a ring, but not a boxing ring or a kickboxing ring. So anyway, the promoter
This
tells
is
Van
about
Damme,
revenge, Wang, not sport.
tells him, "We've got your brother. If you want him to survive, you're going to lose every round, but you're going to last to the end and then die." And then he does an evil cackle.
This guy went on to promote Pride. I'm not sure if you're all aware of that or not.
I don't know if you're serious or not.
the Japanese guy,
May as well
that
have.
Asian guy.
I'm just joking, Wang, but
It's believable,
Damn it.
honestly.
yes.
So the fight begins. Both men use the exact same stance that Rusev uses in WWE today.
So where Rusev got it, I'm sure.
Probably. So Van Damme got his ass kicked, although he managed to escape the round without getting cut by glass.
Well, because when each round started, Tong Po would call the action. So in the first round, he patted his knee. And so that meant, I'm just going to hit you with all my knees.
I see.
And then the second round, he pats his elbow.
Ah, yes, okay.
And that meant it was going to be all elbows. The third round was the one where he did the hands.
He patted his
And
glass,
then the
yeah.
last round, he pounded everything instead of his head, including his head.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
I missed that detail, but that makes sense. So for the first few rounds, Van Damme is being beaten with knees and elbows and not glass. And while this is going on, the old man is staging a raid, trying to rescue the big brother. And eventually he finds himself staring down dudes with guns, and there's not enough Muay Thai in the world to fight that. But fortunately, the army guy kicks down a door. He has a machine gun and a grenade launcher.
Yeah.
A lot of violence ensued, and the big finish to this was the old man took a very, very large hook, stuck it into a human being's testicles, and then lifted him into the sky.
Now, that was really not right, Wang.
No, well, he
And
was a
Big
bad
Brother
guy.
He
responded to
was a
this.
bad guy. This one Wang's okay with.
Big Brother responded to this with a thumbs up.
Yes, he did.
Way to mutilate that human being. Way to go.
You know, in hindsight, the old guy's plan sucked.
Yeah, he was fucked.
He snuck in and they all pulled guns on him and he had no answer to it.
There's no plan B.
Yeah. His plan B was, I'm dead.
So by this point, Van Damme was getting cut up. He got his face cut, his legs cut, his belly cut, he's bleeding all over the place. And the Tong Po started to work his head like a speed bag, and then his belly. And then as the round ended, he dropped him with what was very, very close to Mongolian chop.
That's right.
And as Van Damme's laying there, Tong Po looks down at him and he says, "You bleed just like whatever the girl's name was."
Oh, man, he had to go there.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then he called her a good fuck.
That's what he said.
He did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Van Damme did not take this news well.
She good fuck were his exact words.
Well,
Yeah.
was Van Damme got to her first though, right?
No.
Oh, Van Damme got sloppy seconds. Did he?
What? That's your concern?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Wait. I'm not emotionally recovered yet. Wow.
That was his concern.
Jesus. Well, I'd like to apologize to everyone for the show. It's really, it's not how I thought this would go. All right. All right. So the result of this is that Van Damme insists that they cut the wraps off his hands because now he wants to win
Clean.
yeah, supporting a clean win here with his bare hands. And just as the round's about to begin, the old man and the army guy and the big brother storm into the room, and the big brother gives him another thumbs up.
Good work.
Yeah. So now, of course, Tong Po cannot hit anything. He can't hit anything. Van Damme can't miss. And Van Damme just kicks the fuck out of him a lot. Kicks him out of the ring. So Tong Po tried to light him on fire. Van Damme fought back with a kick. Then he did a double punch to the torso and seriously a Van Daminator.
Yeah.
And he knocked him out of the ring with a spin kick, and he goes to finish him off on the floor. He's beating him against a pillar. And finally Tong Po drops. And then Van Damme turns. He knocks out the promoter with a kick to the head. And then he smiles. And Stan Bush sings, "Never Surrender!"
That's right. All of the dog killing and the rape
It turns
and
out
beating up the handicapped brother.
What the lesson of this movie is, rape is not traumatic if the rapist later gets beat up.
That's right.
That's the lesson.
He wasn't even killed.
No.
He was super kicked.
He got a bloody nose.
He was literally super kicked, and he fell down.
Van Damme got beat up worse than he did.
He really did.
He got beat up much worse.
I don't know how any human could have survived that. You have hands with broken glass getting punched about 20 times in the face
Yeah,
by a professional Muay Thai fighter.
that's right.
No one could survive. He actually came
You know
back
why?
and won.
Never give up, Wang. Never give up. That's why he won.
Okay, well, I mean, Jesus.
But I have to say that was a letdown of an ending.
Why?
Literally, they just ended. What happened to Tong Po? What happened to the guy that lost $1 million? What happened to this relationship that him and his woman had after all this terrible stuff came out? I mean, we had no wrap up. They just
The wrap up is
it was exactly like Karate Kid.
he goes to party with all his friends. They're all happy. All the Thai people love them. They're all happy. And everyone is looking in the center of the screen and cheering. And then the screen freezes and Stan Bush is singing.
That's right.
That's how every movie should end.
My point is, the woman still had gotten raped. The dog still had gotten stabbed. And the brother was still paralyzed.
Yes.
Right.
Yet at the end of the movie, nobody gave a shit because he just super kicked a guy.
That's right.
That was a letdown.
That is.
Maybe in
quite the
Kickboxer 2, 3, 4, or 5, this was resolved.
Well, speaking
Right.
of, there is one more wrestling tie-in. And I bet a lot of you people knew this, but we didn't until after we started. They are remaking this film,
That's right.
according to IMDb.
I knew this too, but I hadn't put 2 and 2 together until I watched this movie.
They're remaking this film. Well, what will no doubt be a vastly inferior version. Unless they get Stan Bush again.
Oh, I don't know. When you look at the lineup,
The lineup includes men like Dave Batista.
he's Tong Po.
That's perfect, actually.
Yeah.
Do we know
Yeah.
who?
Doesn't he have the face and the hair for it?
Oh, yeah. I don't know about the hair,
Well,
but
the color of the
They,
hair.
Yes.
they can make up that.
Yeah, the color of the hair.
And it also stars Gina Carano
that's right.
As the
as the woman, Wang. Yes.
woman.
Let me tell you who else it stars. We've got Jean-Claude Van Damme is coming back. And I believe he plays the old master,
Oh, that's
which will be perfect. Batista's Tong Po. Tyrone Woodley is in this movie. Luke Hawks, Vinny, is in this
Woodley?
movie.
Should I know Tyrone Woodley?
Yeah, as a fighter.
Oh.
And you know who else is in the movie? George St. Pierre.
as the kickboxer.
No.
Oh, man.
But he fucking should be the main character.
Yeah, he should
Because
be.
George St. Pierre is literally, he could play Jean-Claude Van
Yeah,
Damme if he had the
could.
hair. He really could.
Yeah.
Same physique, same accent, the whole 9 yards. And here's another fun fact for you. Did you know that Van Damme and Tong Po grew up together in Belgium?
They did. He was Tom Po doesn't look German. Oh wait,
Well,
Belgium.
I'm sure he moved there, you jackass. But they both lived there.
Were they cool?
And they were friends growing up.
Oh,
and they
okay.
loved action movies. And they decided that they were going to move to America together to become action stars.
Wow.
And they
So-
were in Bloodsport together. They were in this movie together. And
Wow.
Yeah.
Tom Poe really rode John Claude's coattails up to
he
stardom.
did for a while, and then he just disappeared into the ether. Who knows where he is now? But yeah, that's going to be an exciting
That's cool.
movie.
So who plays the kickboxer?
Some guy named Alain. I don't know.
How do you spell that?
ALAINMOUSSI. I never even heard of
Is
the
he even
guy.
a martial artist? Why couldn't they get a real martial artist that's a known actor?
Canadian
Like,
actor and stuntman.
Stuntman. He's trained
Except
jiu-jitsu,
for-
kickboxing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and mixed martial arts.
Oh, that's pretty
So he'll
good.
be fine.
He has done
Yeah,
lots of,
but
he's done
they-
lots of stunt work.
How about someone who's really well known?
He was in Pacific Rim.
I don't know what he looks like.
He has abs. I'm looking at him right now. He has black hair. He's
So essentially,
Wang
he's,
is fascinated.
I am.
He looks like this, Wang. Here's a picture of him with no shirt on. That's Dave Bautista. Don't look at that one.
what does he look like?
A little like Frank Shamrock.
Yeah,
Kinda.
younger Jean Claude is better looking than that.
Jean-Claude was a pretty man, no doubt.
I still can't believe they didn't just get GSP to play it.
Yeah, GSP has hair to grow out.
And even if he can't act, he could still act as well as Jean-Claude did in
Yeah.
that movie.
Wait, who's gonna play the brother?
And that would add a charm to it.
I wonder who the brother is gonna be. Is that Tyrone Woodley?
No. I don't know. I don't know if Tyrone Woodley's got like a major role or anything like that.
Oh, man.
Darren Shalavi is going to be playing the brother. He is also a martial arts stuntman. And he is known primarily for playing bad guys in martial arts films.
What?
Excellent.
So he'll be perfect for it.
Okay.
So
Is he
there you go.
Asian? What?
No, he's English.
Okay.
He was born in England and lives in L.A.
Okay.
So there you go. Well, that's the movie, everybody. Wang, any final closing words?
Nope. Go watch the movie. Everyone, go watch the movie.
Any other movies you'd like to recommend that you've seen lately, Wang?
Pitch Perfect 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did you see it?
I did not see it, no.
It
But
is so
Whitney and her
good.
sisters watched the original one a little while ago.
Oh.
Lana's in that movie.
Well, huh?
WWE's Lana,
Oh, okay.
the hot blonde with the Russian.
I'll recommend a movie.
Oh, from the Sound Machine. Okay, yeah, I know her.
The
No, you
Sound
don't.
Machine.
Go ahead, Vinny. Is she really in the Sound Machine?
No, in the movie.
I see.
Oh, okay.
I see.
Got it. Everyone go see Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, my girlfriend and I were arguing who should see what. She wants